Bhairavaye Namaha. Om Bhairavaye Namaha. Hi everyone, how are you doing? Here is another story for Kala Bhairava. He has truly saved me from many different trials and tribulations. And if you need like an American reference, Kala Bhairava is kind of like Ronald McDonald. So this is only for American people. If you don't want that reference, you are free to leave it. But yeah, happy Memorial Day to everyone who feels connected to that holiday. Right, so let's get to it. Kala Bhairava. I have actually talked to a couple of Shaivites from Himachal Pradesh. Yeah, like they are basically in charge of the security there. So that job is pretty stressful because as you can see from the map, the towns do not really connect unless there's a bus. And the roads aren't great. You know, the roads are very dangerous. And so their job is basically to ensure that the buses run smoothly and that Thakurji, who is the chief minister, doesn't get into any trouble while he is traveling. And he is a great protector of His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama, whose seat is in McLeodganj, Himachal Pradesh. Okay, so my story starts with me visiting McLeodganj, which I have talked about, but I haven't talked about my friend who goes by Sunny. Sunny is the main character of today's story, and he has the energy of Kala Bhairava. One day, I felt like he was going to call me from a wrestler's match, and he called me from a wrestler's match, and he was wearing a black Calvin Klein t-shirt. Not sure if it was real or not, but who gives an F? Okay. And he was really like into the whole Martian side of the relationship. So he really enjoyed like talking about different fights and my sense of humor. So we had like lots of interesting conversations about Himachal and his idea of politics of the time. This is Kala Bhairava. I'll read the comments later. And Sunny really embodied the energy of like the sword. It's over here. Okay, the sword. Yeah. So he was serving as like a watchman for one of the very prominent hotels in the major city, and that was basically his career. So he didn't finish high school, I don't think, but he was very good at like being a watchman because he was like alert most of the time, and he didn't do that much stuff that people are prone to do when you are that age and full of Martian qualities. So I think I am a Mongolic. That is an astrological term for like people with those types of like traits. Um, so yeah, we really bonded off the Martian quality like of Mars, the Mars planet. Raha, not the alien, not the alien Martian, but he could be an alien because I've actually never met Sunny in person. He showed me his father and his mom, and they look like regular people, and he also has a sister. So in Himachal, right, like you really have to earn your keep. Like it's not just about what you do in your job per se, like you sign up for the restaurant and then you just leave and then that's it. Like your whole identity is tied around how well you do your job, and then it becomes like you are a Thakur. So he was a Thakur, like the chief minister, but he didn't really, find him that impressive because, like the chief minister is already relatively like physically not as strong. So then like the younger generation feels like more entitled to like a share of the profits. So he would share that dissatisfaction with me sometimes, and I would share my dissatisfaction with my own situation of like regarding to like how do we even divide like like who gets what, right? Like, because in the US, I feel like the system for dividing these types of things is like relatively open, I would say, because everyone seems to be pretty happy with how things are panning out in the system. I don't mean like in general, I mean like people who are in service, right? The people who serve and have like superiors that they have to report to. They're relatively like okay with how they're getting pensions or salaries, right? That's the English word, salaries. But I think like in South Asia, like it's not that straightforward. Like you kind of have to know people, and then there's also like who's your dad. So those two factors really factor in like their perception of justice and equality, and hence the worship of Kala Bhairava is very conducive for people with Martian qualities. Om Kala Bhairavaya Namaha. Back to the story. So one day on a full moon night, I was in New York City, and Sunny Thakur decides to call me in the middle of the night, where I was, Eastern Standard Time, and he would ask me to go to Goa with him. And I'm like, the mafia of a certain country runs Goa that is not Indian, and their currency is not as much as the US dollar. So why would I go to Goa where I could just pretend to be whatever here and earn much more money that way? And I think he kind of got the message, but still, because he was so like attached to like fame and fortune, so he was kind of angry at me for like rejecting like India's paradise. And for me, I really felt attached to the idea of Himachal Pradesh, which was much more like, nature and trees and less like LSD. I have never taken LSD. Okay, I've never taken shrooms, but people have asked me like, do you like shrooms? Because I don't know, I find them in places that people have taken shrooms. Anyways, Akash Singh has taken shrooms on stage, and he seems like to still have his political correctness filter on. So kudos to Akash Singh. I don't know if Sunny Tucker could have done that because we've never smoked together, but yeah, like it would be interesting to like just take our heads off for the day. But yeah, like mostly he had work, and then he also had like access to all the rooms, so he felt like entitled to like the upper middle class lifestyle of Indians. And so we bonded over that kind of like wink wink relationship. And one day, this is another thing, I was in Asheville, and I was also staying at like a rented place. So both times, both of these fights, they happened at like places where it was not my home. And I think he has some Rahu Mars conjunction in that case. And he said, like, I would like to visit US and etc., etc. And in the end, I find out once I left that rented place that someone was trying to start something in a legal suit with somebody. And I was so angry, I recorded my first diss track. And because of Sunny Thakur, I'm so grateful that he was talking to me at the time. I felt like everything was not that bad, because like these things, these kinds of like dokha happens all the time in India. Like, and so because of his friendship, I could have just seen it in like a relative perspective that, okay, even if somebody wins in the end, it's not the end of your life. And I just read a line from the book Dongri to Dubai, which pretty much summarizes our relationship of like Mars and stuff and Rahu. Loha lohe ko kaatta hai, which means iron fights iron. Thakurji can stand up to a Thakurji, and that is like how Himachal Pradesh has survived thus far from outside predators. Okay, Om Kala Bhairavaya Namaha. God bless Himachal, and let us read the comments. Oof, that was very high intense. Grave Ball Messiah, peace, love the art. Jahan Khan, love the art. I just want to move to a new galaxy. You made the best decision, I believe. Thank you so much. Yeah, if those people were in my vicinity, something really bad might have happened and I wouldn't be making this video right now. But thankfully, and happy Memorial Day. Stay cool, stay calm. Bye, guys.